Muscle loss after 60 isn't just about aging, it's about missing the right signals your body needs to preserve and build lean tissue. While eggs are often praised as the gold standard of protein, there's another food, often overlooked, that packs more usable protein, better amino acid absorption, and superior effects on muscle preservation. In this video, you're going to discover what this powerful food is, why it works better than eggs, and how to use it daily to fight muscle loss naturally after 60. No supplements, no expensive powders, just real functional nutrition. Let's dive in. Eggs have long held the title of the perfect protein in the nutritional world. They're highly bioavailable, rich in essential amino acids, and loaded with nutrients like choline, B12, and selenium that support everything from brain health to liver function. But when it comes to preserving and rebuilding muscle tissue, especially after the age of 60, there's another food source that not only rivals eggs in terms of protein density, but actually exceeds it in several key ways. This lesser-known powerhouse offers more protein per gram, more bioactive nutrients, and a superior amino acid profile that supports the aging body's unique metabolic demands. While most people automatically reach for eggs as their go-to protein source, they're missing an incredible opportunity to leverage a food that was once a staple in traditional diets, but has since fallen off the radar in modern kitchens. The food in question? Grass-fed beef liver. While liver might not be the most glamorous food on the plate, it is without question one of the most nutrient-dense and muscle-supportive whole foods available, and it deserves a second look, especially for those over 60 who are beginning to experience the early signs of sarcopenia, or age muscle wasting. Beef liver contains more high-quality protein per ounce than eggs, and it also delivers that protein in a matrix of highly bioavailable nutrients that enhance absorption and utilization. In other words, it's not just about the quantity of protein, it's about how well your body can use it. After 60, your digestive efficiency declines, stomach acid production weakens, and the body becomes more resistant to anabolic signals, the very triggers needed to build and maintain muscle mass. Eggs are fantastic, but their protein is more modest per unit of volume, and without certain cofactors, the body may struggle to fully utilize it, especially in older adults. Beef liver, on the other hand, provides a dense supply of leucine, the amino acid most directly responsible for triggering muscle protein synthesis, alongside other key nutrients like zinc, iron, copper, and B vitamins that all act synergistically to fuel cellular repair, mitochondrial energy production, and hormonal balance, all essential functions for maintaining lean mass in the aging body. It's not just a protein source, it's a biological tool source for muscular and metabolic renewal. Moreover, liver is unique in that it supports multiple systems involved in muscle preservation. The heme iron supports oxygen transport, which is vital for muscle endurance and strength. Vitamin A, in its active form, retinol, plays a role in gene expression and cell growth. The B vitamins enhance mitochondrial energy metabolism, allowing the muscles to recover faster and perform better. This is something you simply don't get from eggs in the same quantity or biological form. Liver also contains CoQ10, which plays a crucial role in ATP production, the energy currency of the cell. More ATP means better muscle contraction, quicker recovery, and less fatigue during movement. For someone over 60 who may already be experiencing joint stiffness, decreased muscle tone, or slowed physical recovery, this is a game changer. Another important factor to consider is digestibility and insulin response. Eggs, while low in carbohydrates, can still produce a moderate insulinogenic response in some individuals, depending on preparation and meal context. Liver, being high in protein and fat, but virtually zero carbs, tends to support more stable insulin levels, which is vital for those with insulin resistance or prediabetes, a condition that accelerates muscle breakdown and fat storage. Stable insulin means less catabolic activity, less inflammation, and more potential for muscle preservation and fat loss. In addition, liver provides a satiating thermogenic effect, meaning it actually raises your metabolic rate as your body works to digest and assimilate its dense nutrition. This is incredibly beneficial for older adults who struggle with slowed metabolism and difficulty maintaining lean body mass. It's also important to dispel the common myth that liver is toxic. In fact, the liver doesn't store toxins, it filters them. What it does store are vitamins and minerals in highly concentrated, usable forms. Especially when sourced from grass-fed animals, liver is not only safe, it's a nutritional treasure chest. Unlike synthetic protein powders, or amino acid supplements that may come with additives, fillers, or poor absorption, liver offers a whole food solution that the human body recognizes and responds to. It's also extremely versatile. You can saute it, mix it into ground meat, blend it into liver pate, or take it in freeze-dried capsules if taste is a concern. The point is, if you're over 60 and relying solely on eggs or shakes to meet your protein needs, you may be shortchanging your muscle health. Grass-fed liver deserves serious consideration, not just as a protein source, but as a strategic anti-aging food that strengthens your body from the inside out. Once you cross the threshold into your 60s, a series of biological changes begin to unfold beneath the surface. Changes that, if not properly addressed, can gradually erode your strength, mobility, and independence. One of the most significant of these changes is the body's declining ability to synthesize muscle protein, a process known scientifically as muscle protein synthesis, MPS. This isn't simply about losing a bit of tone or not feeling as strong as you did in your 40s. This is a gradual, often silent process that affects your entire metabolic system, impacting everything from balance and bone density to insulin sensitivity and immune function. After 60, the body becomes less responsive to the signals that normally trigger muscle growth and repair. What this means in practical terms is that even if you're eating the same foods you always have, and even if you're staying moderately active, your body's ability to turn protein into functional, usable muscle tissue is blunted. This condition, often referred to as anabolic resistance, is a hallmark of aging, but it is not irreversible. In fact, the difference between those who stay strong and mobile into their 70s and 80s and those who become frail and dependent often comes down to one key factor: nutritional strategy. Diet is no longer just about calories or even macronutrient ratios at this stage of life. It's about delivering precise signals to the body that say, build muscle, preserve strength, repair damage. And those signals come from specific amino acids, specific nutrient combinations, and timing. For instance, one of the most critical amino acids for triggering muscle protein synthesis is leucine, and most older adults do not consume enough of it in a single meal to overcome the body's natural anabolic resistance. While younger individuals may stimulate muscle growth with 10-15 grams of protein, someone over 60 may need 30-40 grams of high-quality leucine-rich protein in a sitting just to get the same effect. This is why your morning cup of tea with toast or your light salad at lunch is no longer sufficient. Your meals must now be more intentional, more therapeutic in nature. Complicating matters further is the reality that many seniors begin to lose their appetite, chew less effectively, or experience digestive issues that reduce nutrient absorption. This means that not only do you need more of the right foods, you also need to ensure those foods are in a form that's easy to digest, low in anti-nutrients, and highly bioavailable. For example, plant proteins, while helpful, are often harder to digest and lack the complete amino acid profile needed for muscle preservation. Animal-based proteins like eggs, fish, and grass-fed meats, on the other hand, provide the essential amino acids in forms that the aging digestive system can handle more efficiently. But even within the animal protein category, certain sources stand out. Foods like beef liver, wild salmon, sardines, and bone broth offer not only complete protein, but also critical cofactors like B vitamins, zinc, magnesium, and collagen that directly support muscular regeneration and cellular energy production. The importance of dietary fat also cannot be overlooked. After 60, hormones that support muscle mass like testosterone and growth hormone naturally decline, but these hormones are influenced by dietary fat intake. Eating healthy fats from sources like grass-fed butter, pasture-raised eggs, avocados, and extra virgin olive oil can help support hormonal balance and reduce the chronic low-grade inflammation that accelerates muscle breakdown. inflammation and muscle loss are closely linked. When the body is inflamed, it's more catabolic, meaning it breaks down tissues, especially muscle, at a faster rate. Therefore, a strategic diet for those over 60 must not only focus on increasing protein, but also on creating an anti-stimulatory internal environment where muscle can be maintained and even rebuilt. In addition, meal timing plays a surprisingly important role. Contrary to the myth that older adults should eat smaller, more frequent meals throughout the day, research now suggests that fewer, larger meals with adequate protein per sitting may actually be more effective for stimulating muscle growth in the elderly. Spacing out meals to allow for periods of mild fasting can also enhance insulin sensitivity, reduce systemic inflammation, and make the body more receptive to nutrient uptake during feeding windows. This metabolic flexibility becomes increasingly valuable with age as insulin resistance becomes more prevalent and contributes to both fat gain and muscle wasting. When you eat, and how much protein you eat in one meal has a greater impact on muscle preservation than simply hitting a daily protein total. Lastly, it's critical to understand that muscle isn't just tissue, it's an organ of longevity. It helps regulate blood sugar, influences brain function, protects your bones, and even plays a role in detoxification. Every pound of muscle you preserve after 60 acts as a buffer against disease, disability, and dependence. But without the right dietary strategy, without intentionally choosing foods that are rich in complete proteins, anti-inflammatory fats, and bioavailable micronutrients, your body simply won't have the raw materials it needs to resist the pull of sarcopenia. So, while exercise and movement are essential, they can only do so much if the nutrition isn't there to support it. After 60, food is no longer just fuel, it's information for your genes, your hormones, and your muscles. As we age, our nutritional needs shift dramatically. And nowhere is this more evident than in the body's relationship with protein. While many people over 60 focus on simply increasing their protein intake, and that's a good start, the real key to preserving lean muscle, metabolic health, and overall vitality lies not just in the amount of protein consumed, but in its quality and digestibility. Seniors face a unique physiological challenge. As the body ages, its ability to digest, absorb, and utilize nutrients, especially amino acids from protein sources, begins to decline. This doesn't mean that the body no longer benefits from protein. In fact, it means quite the opposite. Seniors actually need more high-quality, easily digested protein to trigger the same muscle-building response that younger individuals get from a much smaller amount. The phenomenon known as anabolic resistance means the older body doesn't respond as robustly to protein intake unless that protein is both high in essential amino acids and easily broken down by the digestive system. That's why focusing exclusively on total grams of protein without accounting for its bioavailability can leave many seniors chronically undernourished despite eating what looks like a healthy diet on paper. Let's break this down. Not all proteins are created equal. Some foods are protein rich, yes, but the body has to work incredibly hard to extract the amino acids it needs from them. Others, like collagen or plant-based proteins, may be lacking in one or more of the essential amino acids needed for full spectrum muscle protein synthesis. In contrast, complete proteins, those that contain all 9 essential amino acids in the right ratios, are the gold standard for aging adults. Foods like eggs, wild-caught fish, grass-fed beef, chicken, and dairy fall into this category. But even among complete proteins, some stand out for being more easily digested and absorbed. For example, whey protein isolate is one of the most bioavailable sources available, absorbed rapidly, and rich in leucine, the key amino acid for triggering muscle growth. For seniors with sluggish digestion or low stomach acid, this makes whey isolate a powerful ally. On the other hand, plant-based proteins, though beneficial in other ways, often come packaged with anti-nutrients like phytates and lectins, which can hinder digestion and mineral absorption. This makes them less ideal as a primary protein source for older adults, unless they are carefully prepared and paired with complementary proteins to make them complete. The other major factor is digestive capacity, which changes with age. By the time someone reaches their 60s or 70s, Their stomach acid production is often significantly lower than it was in their youth. This impacts the breakdown of protein in the stomach and reduces the availability of amino acids further down the digestive tract. This is especially problematic when seniors eat tough cuts of meat, overcook their proteins, or rely on foods that are difficult to digest. What this means in real terms is that even if a senior is consuming 80 to 100 grams of protein per day, much of it may not be properly absorbed and therefore can't contribute to muscle maintenance or repair. This makes the form of protein critically important. Gentle cooking methods such as steaming, poaching, or lightly sauteing preserve the structure of amino acids and reduce digestive strain. Bone broth, collagen peptides, and soft proteins like eggs or fish are also excellent options for aging digestive systems. In addition to how the protein is prepared, when it's consumed matters as well. Seniors benefit more from bolus doses of protein, meaning larger amounts in one sitting rather than grazing throughout the day. Studies show that older adults need about 30-40 grams of high-quality protein per meal to effectively stimulate muscle protein synthesis. If protein is spread too thin across many small meals or snacks, it often fails to reach the threshold needed to activate the muscle building process. This is another area where digestibility and quality go hand in hand. The better the protein is absorbed, the more effective each meal becomes in helping preserve lean tissue. It's not about eating constantly with the right building blocks at the right time. There's also the important role of cofactors, nutrients that support protein metabolism and muscle maintenance. Nutrients like vitamin B6, magnesium, zinc, and vitamin D all play vital roles in protein digestion, absorption, and utilization. Without them, even the highest quality protein can't be metabolized efficiently. Seniors who rely on processed foods or avoid animal products may become deficient in these key nutrients, further compounding the issue. That's why whole food sources of protein, which contain not just the amino acids, but the micronutrients that support their function, are far superior to isolated protein sources, stripped of their nutritional context. Finally, we must talk about inflammation. Chronic low-grade inflammation is common in aging populations and contributes directly to muscle wasting, known as inflammaging. Poor protein choices, such as processed meats, protein bars with artificial additives, or highly refined soy products can worsen this inflammatory burden. In contrast, anti-inflammatory protein sources like salmon rich in omega-3s, pasture-raised eggs, and organ meats help reduce inflammation and create an internal environment where muscle preservation can thrive. Choosing clean, anti-inflammatory proteins isn't just about building muscle, it's about protecting the whole system that allows muscle to grow and function. In summary, while many seniors are told to eat more protein, the deeper truth is that it's not just about quantity, it's about choosing protein sources that the body can actually use. With age, efficiency becomes the name of the game. Focusing on digestibility, complete amino acid profiles, proper preparation, meal timing, and nutrient synergy allows older adults to turn every bite of protein into meaningful, measurable health benefits. This approach doesn't just prevent frailty, it supports energy, cognition, independence, and a higher quality of life. In the world of nutrition, eggs have long been hailed as the gold standard for protein, complete, bioavailable, and rich in essential amino acids. But what if there's a food that not only matches the protein quality of eggs, but surpasses it in both density and muscle-activating potency? Surprisingly, such a food exists, and it's often overlooked. This superfood contains more protein per gram than eggs and is particularly rich in leucine, the powerhouse amino acid responsible for switching on the muscle-building machinery in your body. Leucine isn't just another amino acid, it's the one that sends the signal to your muscles, grow, repair, and regenerate. Without enough leucine, no matter how much protein you consume, muscle protein synthesis is significantly impaired, especially as you age. After 60, the body's responsiveness to dietary protein declines, and the threshold for activating muscle growth rises. That means you can no longer rely on small protein servings or incomplete sources to maintain your strength and mobility. You need targeted strategic nutrition that includes foods with a high leucine content and superior digestibility. And this superfood checks all those boxes. The food we're talking about is lean, grass-fed beef, particularly cuts like sirloin, top round, and flank steak. Per gram, beef contains more protein than eggs, and its amino acid profile is incredibly rich in leucine, often delivering more per serving than an equivalent amount of eggs. Just 100 grams of lean beef can provide over 25 grams of protein and upwards of 2 grams of leucine, which is considered a clinical dose for stimulating muscle protein synthesis in older adults. Compare that with 2 eggs, which only give you around 12, 13 grams of protein and about 1 gram of leucine combined. That difference matters because once you pass the age of 60, the biological switch that tells your body to build muscle becomes less sensitive to specific. To flip that switch, you need both more protein and the right type of protein, and leucine is the key to that activation. Think of leucine as the ignition button. You can have all the fuel protein you want, but if you can't start the engine, your muscles won't respond. Beyond leucine, beef is also packed with critical cofactors that enhance protein metabolism and muscle health. These include iron, zinc, B vitamins, and creatine, all of which are essential for cellular energy production, muscle contraction, and recovery. Unlike isolated protein powders or plant-based alternatives, which often lack these supportive nutrients, beef provides a complete nutritional package that works synergistically to preserve lean tissue. For seniors battling muscle loss or sarcopenia, this is crucial. Your body isn't just fighting against time, it's fighting against declining absorption, metabolic slowdown, and hormonal changes that all chip away at muscle mass. To counteract that, you need foods that are nutrient-dense, bioavailable, and metabolically active, and beef delivers on all 3 fronts. There's also a powerful satiety factor to consider. High-protein foods like beef don't just help build muscle, they keep you full longer, stabilize blood sugar, and prevent the insulin spikes that contribute to fat gain and metabolic dysfunction. This becomes even more important after 60, when insulin sensitivity often drops and the risk of metabolic syndrome increases. Consuming beef as part of your first or second meal of the day can help blunt hunger hormones, improve energy stability, and support lean body mass, all while reducing cravings for high-carb, low-protein foods that accelerate aging. For those concerned about cholesterol or heart health, it's important to note that grass-fed beef has a much healthier fat profile than conventional grain-fed options. It contains higher levels of omega-3 fatty acids, CLA, conjugated linoleic acid, and antioxidants like vitamin E, which support anti-inflammatory processes and cellular repair. Well, of course, it's not about eating massive steaks every day. It's about being intentional with your protein choices. Small portions of lean, high-quality beef throughout the week can be enough to significantly improve your anabolic response, especially when paired with resistance training, even at low intensity. That's because leucine doesn't act in isolation. It acts in response to both nutrition and activity. When you fuel your body with a leucine-rich protein like beef, and then engage in light weight-bearing exercise or walking, you create the perfect environment for muscle preservation and regrowth. And unlike protein bars, powders, or heavily processed protein sources, beef requires chewing and digestion, which also stimulates gastric acid production, a process that often becomes sluggish with age. This helps retrain your digestive system to better absorb nutrients from all food sources, not just protein. Another benefit of beef is its versatility. It can be consumed in the form of stir-fry, soups, stews, meatballs, or even cold leftovers. When prepared properly, using gentle cooking methods like slow cooking, pressure cooking, or light searing, it becomes easy on the stomach, highly satisfying, and metabolically efficient. This is a far cry from the bland, low-protein breakfasts many seniors default to: cereal, toast, fruit, or just a cup of coffee. These meals do almost nothing to support lean mass and over time accelerate the decline into weakness, poor posture, and loss of independence. Substituting even one of those meals with a high-protein, leucine-rich alternative can dramatically shift your muscle trajectory for the better. So while eggs remain an excellent food, especially for their versatility in nutrition, they don't carry the same muscle-building leverage as this lesser-discussed superfood. For seniors serious about staying strong, mobile, and metabolically young, incorporating this protein-dense, leucine-rich powerhouse into your diet may be the single most effective and natural strategy for fighting sarcopenia and reclaiming your strength from the inside out. As we age, a silent shift occurs inside the body, one that few people notice until it's too late. It's called anabolic resistance, and it's one of the leading drivers behind age, muscle loss, weakness, and frailty. By the time you reach 60, your muscles no longer respond to protein the same way they did in your 30 or 40s. The very nutrients that once fueled your strength now seem to fall flat, and the result is a slow, steady erosion of lean tissue, particularly in the legs, core, and upper back. And this doesn't just affect physical strength, it impacts balance, posture, energy, metabolism, and even your brain. What's more troubling is that most seniors continue to eat the same way they always have, unaware that the rules of nutrition have changed. You now need more than just protein, you need the right kind of protein in the right form and at the right time to override anabolic resistance and reignite the muscle building signal your body desperately needs. And there is one food that can do exactly that naturally without needing supplements, shakes, or expensive formulas. That food is whey protein isolate, a complete, fast-digesting protein that contains one of the highest concentrations of leucine, the amino acid directly responsible for triggering muscle protein synthesis. Most people associate whey with bodybuilders or gym goers, but for someone over 60, whey becomes a powerful medicinal tool, capable of bypassing anabolic resistance and stimulating muscle growth where other proteins fall short. Here's how it works. Anabolic resistance means your muscle cells become less sensitive to the presence of amino acids. In a younger body, a small amount of protein, say 10 to 15 grams, might be enough to activate mTOR, the internal switch that tells your body to start building muscle. But in older adults, this threshold rises significantly. Now, it may take 30 to 40 grams of high leucine protein to achieve the same anabolic effect. Most meals, especially breakfast, don't come close to meeting that threshold. Cereal, toast, fruit, even eggs, they're simply not enough. But a serving of high-quality whey protein isolate can deliver 25-30 grams of protein and 2.53 grams of leucine in just one scoop, giving your aging muscle exactly what it needs to respond and grow. What makes whey especially effective is its bioavailability and speed of absorption. It reaches the bloodstream quickly, floods the muscles with essential amino acids, and flips the anabolic switch more efficiently than any other protein source. Compare this to chicken, beef, or legumes, which digest more slowly and often fall short in leucine content. This doesn't mean whole foods aren't valuable. They are, but when fighting anabolic resistance, speed and precision matter. Whey acts almost like a targeted therapy, delivering a precise dose of muscle-building nutrients in a form your body can actually use. And when consumed in the morning, it does more than just build muscle. It helps set your metabolism for the day, increases satiety, balances blood sugar, and prevents the midday crash that drives poor food choices and inactivity. Another key reason whey helps bypass anabolic resistance is that it's often easier to digest for older adults who may struggle with low stomach acid or impaired enzyme production. As we age, our digestive strength declines, making it harder to break down dense animal proteins like steak or chicken. Whey isolate, especially in its purified form, requires minimal digestion and is well tolerated by most people, even those who don't do well with dairy. This makes it an ideal option for seniors who want to increase protein intake without digestive burden, and because it mixes easily with water or plant-based milks, it becomes a convenient, no-fuss solution for busy mornings, post-walk recovery, or even a late evening anabolic boost. But the benefits don't stop at muscle. Whey also supports immune function, as it contains lactoferrin, immunoglobulins, and glutathione precursors that help maintain cellular defense. It also provides cysteine and glycine, amino acids critical for liver detoxification and cognitive health, two areas that become increasingly vulnerable with age. What's truly powerful is that this one food, simple, accessible, and often misunderstood, can address multiple age challenges at once. By including a daily serving of whey protein isolate in your routine, especially timed around light resistance training or walking, you create a synergistic effect that not only halts muscle decline, but can even reverse it over time. It is important to note that not all whey proteins are created equal. Look for grass-fed, cold-processed, non-denatured whey isolate, free from artificial sweeteners, fillers, or additives. These versions maintain the integrity of the protein and deliver the cleanest amino acid profile. Many commercial brands are heavily processed, low in leucine, and loaded with chemicals that counteract the health benefits. Just one scoop of the right whey can change your biological trajectory, especially when your diet and activity support it. Ultimately, anabolic resistance is not a life sentence. It's a biological challenge that can be overcome with strategic action. And one of the most powerful tools in your arsenal is right in front of you. While your younger self could get away with eating whatever was convenient, your post-60 body requires intentional choices. Whey protein isolate gives you the leverage you need, naturally, effectively, and without overcomplicating your lifestyle. If you want to walk strong, stand tall, and live independently for decades to come, this is one nutritional weapon you can't afford to ignore. When it comes to aging well, staying lean, and preserving muscle past the age of 60, not all proteins are created equal. Many people still focus purely on quantity, trying to eat more eggs, more meat, or more plant protein without understanding how the body actually processes these foods in later stages of life. What's often missed is the crucial difference between a protein that merely contains amino acids and one that your body can actually absorb and utilize efficiently. And that's where this particular protein-rich food stands out from the rest. It's easy to digest, low in carbohydrates, and perhaps most importantly, has almost zero impact on insulin levels, making it an ideal option for anyone trying to burn fat, build or retain muscle, and balance blood sugar naturally without overstressing the digestive system or triggering inflammatory pathways. Now, most people associate protein with dense meals like steaks, chicken breasts, or even plant-based sources like lentils or beans. While these foods do contain protein, they also come with other nutritional baggage that can work against you, especially as you age. For example, legumes are often high in carbohydrates, which spike insulin and make fat burning more difficult. Red meats, while rich in protein, can be harder to digest for those with declining stomach acid or sluggish bile production, both of which are common after 60. Even eggs, often held up as the gold standard of natural protein, don't always provide enough leucine to optimally trigger muscle protein synthesis in older adults, and may not be tolerated by individuals with sensitivity to sulfur-rich foods. That's why we need something more targeted, a food that delivers high-impact protein with minimal digestive strain and without compromising metabolic flexibility. This is where a properly formulated whey protein isolate, sourced from grass-fed dairy and cold processed to preserve its amino acid integrity, offers exceptional value. It's incredibly easy to digest, requiring very little stomach acid or enzyme production to break down. For older adults, this is a massive advantage. As we age, enzyme output drops and digestion slows down, which often leads to bloating, incomplete protein absorption, or gastrointestinal distress from heavier meals. Whey isolate, on the other hand, is rapidly absorbed into the bloodstream and delivers a complete profile of essential amino acids, including the muscle-building powerhouse leucine, within just minutes of consumption. It bypasses many of the barriers that prevent older adults from reaping the full benefits of dietary protein Another massive benefit is its extremely low carbohydrate content. Unlike plant-based proteins, meal replacements, or smoothies loaded with fruit and fillers, high-quality whey isolate contains virtually no sugar or starch. This makes it ideal for those following low-carb, ketogenic, or insulin-controlled diets, which are often recommended for older adults to combat metabolic syndrome, prediabetes, and visceral fat accumulation. Because it doesn't spike insulin, this protein supports stable blood sugar throughout the day, avoiding the crashes and cravings that sabotage fat loss and encourage muscle breakdown. When insulin remains low, your body stays in fat-burning mode longer. But just as importantly, when paired with light movement or strength training, this protein source supports an anabolic environment, the internal state your body needs in order to repair, rebuild, and preserve lean tissue. This unique combination, fat-burning support and muscle retention, makes this food a powerful ally for anyone over 60. You're not just feeding your body, you're signaling to it that muscle is still necessary, that strength still matters, and that metabolic efficiency can be maintained even into your 70s or 80s. That's because protein isn't just structural, it's hormonal. It influences everything from satiety hormones like leptin and ghrelin to muscle growth signals like mTOR and IGF-1. And when that protein comes without the insulin spike, you avoid the metabolic confusion that comes from mixing carbs and protein improperly, a common mistake in traditional breakfasts like toast and eggs, or fruit smoothies with protein powder. Whey protein isolate is also incredibly versatile. You don't need to cook it, refrigerate it, or combine it with complex recipes. It can be stirred into water, unsweetened almond milk, or even coffee for a morning boost that takes under 30 seconds. That convenience removes friction and makes it far easier to stay consistent. Something that's absolutely critical if you're trying to make nutrition work for you in the long run. And because it's virtually tasteless in its pure form, it doesn't overwhelm your palate or disrupt other flavors. For those who like to keep things simple, quick, and effective, this food checks every box. Additionally, it's worth noting that this type of protein doesn't just benefit your muscles and metabolism, it also supports immune health thanks to its glutathione-boosting compounds and helps preserve collagen production, important for joints, skin, and connective tissue strength. So while the primary focus may be on fighting sarcopenia and age muscle loss, the benefits ripple outward into every major system of the body. From energy to cognition to physical resilience, the impact of consistent insulin-numeral, high-quality protein is difficult to overstate. In the end, aging doesn't mean you're doomed to lose muscle, gain fat, or feel tired all the time. It just means the rules have changed and you need to adapt. By choosing a protein-rich food that's digestible, carb-conscious, and metabolically intelligent, you take back control of your health in a simple, sustainable, and science-backed way. This is not about extreme diets or workouts. It's about supplying your body with the right information at the right time in the most absorbable form possible. And that's exactly what this food delivers.